Okay, then we also have mulch. Green manure is what you grow to cover soil. Mulch is what you put on the soil. One of the best is called, who has seen the movie Back to Eden? Anybody seen the movie Back to Eden? Okay, well, this is what they use, except they don't explain too much how to use it, especially. It's not just wood chips. It's made from green branches. Okay, not trees, green branches with leaves or without leaves. Okay, and it's chipped, broken down, and make a mush. And we use it all to put on the soil. Here we use newspaper to prevent the grass to come through, so you have a weed-free garden without tilling the soil. Okay? Here you can see in the alleys, I like to use cardboard because this is going to bring the worms up. This is carbon, and this is carbon on the alley, no problem. In a place, if you would cultivate here, and you want to cultivate cabbage in a bed next here, you would have to put first compost on the soil, your cardboard on top, carton on top, and then some hay and stuff on top. So if you want to grow, don't put cardboard or carbon on the soil, on the alley, especially because you have already green here. So you let the grass grow, then you cover it, you choke it, no light, no life. Okay? Here we can see, you can see here, this is called mulch, mulching techniques. No weeds, almost no weeds. Here's no weeds. Here's no weeds. Okay. When the weeds come through, just put more. People always ask, why do you put more? Well, just simple. When it gets through, just put more. Okay. This is in Colombia. The black soil is not soil, it's mulch. Okay. And this is a broccoli I grew last year in Colombia. And we eat the whole thing. The leaves are healthy. You eat the whole thing. We juice it, we smooth it, we cook it, slice it thin, make a soup, whatever. Okay, and this is how I like farming. This is my preferable way to make farming because they work for you. Okay. This is how you reach this after a few years of covering the soil. Since you don't till, you don't weed, you water 5 times less, you can grow more stuff with less effort. Okay, this is how we plant, cultivate. I'll just show you those pictures so you see. This is mycorrhiza. Beside the root system of a plant, it has mycorrhiza, which is 5 times more long or more volume than the root of a plant. Okay, so it's very important to have mycorrhiza. Is the only way to have mycorrhiza functioning, active in the soil, preventing any plants to get sick. When the mycorrhiza web is being developed, your plants are healthy. To have this going on instead of this is fine. That's how plants work. But once you have this going on, those mycorrhiza are going to feed the roots 5 times more. Your plant is going to be resistant. To have this, the only way is to have mulch and to have wooded mulch. If you don't have wooded mulch, you have no mycorrhiza because mycorrhiza works in combination with the mushrooms. Okay, this is a grinder, but you don't need all this stuff. This, by the way, this is a very useful tool. This is a little tractor, and behind with a grinder with hammer. Okay, and you can grind up to trees, ipil, big like your arm. With this system, you just drive over, break down everything. Okay, this is in France. Just before I came, we planted trees, 200 trees in a few days. So we rented a machine, and this is what I want to show you. This is what we call swales. Okay, a swale is this is planting here. Okay, now you saw this already. Okay. Yeah, okay, alternate beds. This is again to show you, we alternate. This is a good system where the alley is covered with grass in a rainy area, and you grow your vegetables here. You mow the grass is cut by the mower, is propulsed here on this, covering the stuff, and it does provide some mulch to it. So those are the fast way to cultivate. You have to adopt strategies according to what you have, the possibilities. You can make it very fancy if you want. This is permaculture, a bit fancy. Okay, here we have a bit more anarchic system where everything grows together, and pond is a very important part of your ecosystem. So you have to have some place with water. There's different ways to make ponds. Best is just with clay soil, compact clay soil, add water, and the water. This is a little herb garden for children or ladies. It's organized in such a way as a snail house where the plant need water on the bottom and the plant that need less water are on top. Okay, so basically you water the bottom and you just leave them alone. Okay, that's why you have thyme, oregano, all the Mediterranean plants. They don't need so much water. Okay, this is how to make a hanging garden where you can grow squash, tomatoes against a house, especially in northern climate where we have full sun on the side, no wind. You can grow tomatoes up to the north where it's very cold. Here again you see these gardens here. This is a tropical garden. You know, we grow in alleys, okay, and it's coconut, papaya, bananas. And in this one, this is about 20 years ago, a 20-year-old garden. Today we improved this by growing in between acacia. So it's basically the same system, except we plant fertilizer. We've discovered that just some grasses, legumes producing nitrogen is not enough. You can go one step beyond. This is some of the big tools we use to plant. When you grow a lot of trees, this is homemade to plow, to open the soil without turning the soil. And in the trench, we just plant the trees. So you can plant 300-400 trees in one day. Okay, that's also another one here. Grinder. Okay, all right. We have a break, and well, we have a second session in 2 minutes. Okay, well, this time we're going to talk about water harvest through swales and ponds. Okay, water resources are very limited. Right now we have on the planet about equivalent of a teaspoon of water in circulation compared to a bathtub in the ocean. All the sweet water, it's a very tiny amount. All the lake, rivers, clouds, glacier, all this water compared to the ocean is like a teaspoon. So we have a little water in circulation. So we want to retain that water. Okay? How do we do this? Well, it has been done for centuries, millennium, by using terraces. By using terrace in the areas where rainfall is very limited in time, very abundant in quantity, in a short time, they have learned, humans have learned to build terraces. This is in Greece, this is in France, this is in Italy, in England, this is in Peru, France again, this is Asia, this is Bali, Indonesia. You can see the amazing system, prodigious of ingenuity, and I want you to see some of these have been used now with chemicals, but there are parts of Bali where they don't use chemical, and they produce 12 tons of rice a year. 12,000 kilos, 2 crops of 6 tons per hectare per year. That's not equaled by chemical fertilization. Okay. So here you can see, I show you this because this is how water is retained by using terrace system. It's not just to grow rice. You can grow anything like this. Okay. This is just after the rain, of course. So how do we do swales? Well, we cultivate using contour. We use what we call contour swales. Okay. This is done in modern time. This is done with tractors. And you cultivate following the contour of the hill. You don't try to go straight lines. You just have to follow level. Today you have tractors with GPS. It tells you when you're level, tells you where to go. So when you make your first passage, when you plow the first, it's perfectly level. So this is a swale. A swale is simply what you do when you have a slope. You have a slope like this. But what you do, you just take away the soil. The steeper the slope, the shorter distance between the swale, and you take all this soil and you put it here, okay? And then when the water, and here you can put organic material, and when water comes, it fills the swale with water, okay? That's thousands of liters per hectare. At the end of a swale, when you come to the end of the swale, for example, not here because this is a temperate climate, it doesn't rain so much, but if it's tropical, at the end here, you create a pond. Each end of swales has a pond. So the water, instead of going over creating erosion, will fill the pond. So if you have 10 swales, well, you have 10 ponds filling up. The water fills up, goes away, okay? So here you have many models. This is steep hill. You can plant on top here. This is a low plant, needs more water. Maybe pumpkins or squash or tomatoes. Okay, this is how it works. The water goes in the soil, and as it goes in, it processes down the hill, slowly goes in, and see the water bubble. This is humid, and the water is now here. And doing this, you'll find out after a few years, spring coming out where there has been never springs before. Okay, so it does work. And this is a case where you have a very gentle slope. So you can see there's a big space, like 10, 15 meters between the swale. We don't try to make the swales parallel. We make them control level, that the water, when it comes, it will stop here. Okay. Here you can see after the rain, this has been covered with straw, planted with beans, right away after making the swale. So, so this is what happens after you planted this. Those are beans, those are fruit trees, and they're growing, covering the soil. No grass will grow, no competition. Okay, here's another swale. This is with machine. This is with logs. This was a forest, so there was a lot of trees. Instead of burning the trees, they were placed here on the ground and covered with soil. This is carbon for many, many years. It will, when it will decompose, the root of this tree will have a light soil, okay, to live from. This is a work I've done in Venezuela. Same system, okay. Here you can see a team. This is a artificial swale, just made as trees. We collected all the trees in the jungle, and instead of burning them, we teach the people how to cover then the soil with grasses, and then we planted camote, beans, and other goodies. Even the children were very greatly helpful. It was wonderful. They brought their trucks, and we had a good time. So here you can see many examples of types of swale systems. Okay. So you got the principle? Okay. If it's very steep, well, you make them very deep. You make them deeper. Okay. Here is a very steep place. Here's a very abundant rain. Only a few rain in a year, but very much water. So we had to make very big swales to collect a lot of water. It prevented the houses down there also later on to be flooded. So this is, it's nothing new under the sun, but it's been neglected. And so this is coming back. You can see clearly a gentle slope, so we have about 6 meters, 7 meters between the swales. Okay, and then of course you plant. You have to cover the soil. And some seeds are very cheap, like squash seeds are very cheap, so you plant a lot of squash. Squash will cover the soil. They will produce some squash without fertilizer, but your soil has been protected, the weeds have been eliminated in part. We use everything we can find to cover the soil, including, of course, planting. Here is a system with those swales. You can grow vegetables this way, of course. This is a swale that became kind of permanent because the soil was clay and there was enough rain to keep it full. This one, also the same here. Okay, always after rain. Those are big farms in the US where they grow all kinds of stuff using the system. You can go small, you can go big, you know. Rainwater harvesting. Okay, this is how we plan, we design. This is a man in Austria. He's kind of a promoter. He's been doing this for 40 years. He has on his property 75 ponds now, and he's become a model for the world. People come from all the world to watch, to study his farm, study how he made it. So basically you build those channels, we call them swales, and if it's too much water at one time, we have a pond at the end. You can have as many ponds as you want to have. This is tropical, so we have bananas here, camote. This is vetiver, a grass growing, smells good, like it's a bit like lemongrass, but has deeper roots. Lemongrass has shallow roots. This has roots 3 meters deep, so it will hold the soil when heavy rain comes. Soil is covered, water stays, everybody's happy. Okay? That's how you make your house. Yeah. I'll pass on this one. You can see very wide swale in an area where it rains a lot in a short time. Here you can see it. And all this water used to go down in the river, in the ocean, in the river. Now it's kept because you have 9 months no rain. So you want to keep the water in the ground. Okay? Then of course we work for people, so we do some planning for them. This is Mr. Zeppholzer. Okay. So this is a farm before and after. Okay. So instead of drying out, becoming dry in no time, it just gets greener, many more months. You see. Yeah. And this is how you make a pond using clay. Let me show you a succession of what I recommend today for people to make in tropical areas, what to cultivate. I'm going to spend a few minutes on this. What I've just done at Pamas in Palawan. We have made this system and it works very good, very well. So you make a swale, okay. The way we did it there, the soil was very poor soil, very bad, red, laterite soil, compacted, dead soil, damaged by fire and so forth. So what we did there, we dig a trench. Okay, trench was 70 centimeters deep. Was a long trench, on contour, following the level, more or less. Okay, there was next to a river, so we had to follow the river this way. Okay, and in that trench, on the bottom, we had a lot of coconut shell. Okay, we put coconut shell on the bottom, all right, 2 or 3 layers. This is to have carbon and air in the bottom. Okay, this is not to make compost. This is to have a material with a good drainage, because that soil has a tendency not to drain well. We put some of the soil on top, and then we put a banana plant. Banana plant was about 50, 60 centimeters down. Okay, so that banana plant we cover with good soil. We had some good soil from the river, mud soil. Okay, in that the banana will begin to make its roots and pass this and grow fine. Okay, and then we cover with soil here. So let's make it bigger here. So basically we had the soil here. Okay, so we had the shell here, piece of wood as well, some soil. We had a banana plant here. Okay, we cut the top. 4 hours later, it was shooting again. Okay, so we put the soil back about to this level, and here we had some soil still. Okay, so we put the soil here, and then we flooded this with water. We put about 6 big, gigantic buckets per plant. Lots of water. It was not a rainy season. You could do this at a rainy season, just put 1 or 2 buckets. Since it's a dry season, very hot down there, so we put a lot of water. Okay, so this is how we planted the bananas. The coconut tree we planted every 12 meters by 10. The coconut tree, we did the same with coconut shell. We put some soil, and we put the coconut here. Had a little sprout. Okay, and then we just cover soil to here. And every week, 10 days, as it's growing, we're adding soil. As it grows more, in 3-4 months, okay, what happens is our coconuts have roots, long roots, many roots, but they have a tendency to fall. Okay, and to grow up and have roots climbing up on a tree. So this I learned in India. And having this system here, you will have roots all the way here. Everything, every part of the trunk touching soil will make roots. So instead of having just some roots here, you have a huge systems of roots. And that coconut is going to grow fine, just great. Okay? This is just a little trick for planting coconut. We're planting between 80 and 100 coconuts per hectare. Okay? 10 by 10 or 10 by 12. Okay? On a row. Same row with bananas. So this is what we did. Here's your view from airplanes. This is how the swale, the bed look like. Okay? So here we had a coconut. This was in a hole, and we kept the hole open because it was just like that. We let it, as it grows, we cover. Then here, 1 meter apart, 1 meter, we planted a banana. 1 meter further, we planted a mangium, Acacia mangium. If you don't know what it is, you will ask somebody who knows, okay? Who in this audience knows what is an Acacia mangium? 2, 3, 4, okay. You ask those people, they will tell you how to get. It's very easy to plant. You take a stick on a rainy season, unless you water. This was a demo. It was a school setting, so we just planted and watered. But if you want to grow 5 hectares, 10 hectares, you just plant a stick. It doesn't have to be big. Smaller is better. But it's got to be deep. Take a mining bar, soil is soft and wet, and you put it deep down there, you close, and you go to the next one. All right? And then you plant every 3-4 meters, and in between, of course, you plant other trees. So here, 1 meter apart, we planted actually we left the space empty because we didn't have the seeds or the plants. Actually, we had the seed of the plants. We planted here, reserve a place for a papaya. Okay. 1 meter, always 1 meter. Here, what did you plant here? What do you think we planted here? Every fruit tree on its side has an acacia. Why do we plant acacia? Acacia, mangium, or ipil, or others. But that's my two favorite here. Also, Madre Cacao is a good one for vegetable gardens. Okay, for vegetable garden, for fruit orchard, we use this one. So this one here was a acacia mangium, and the next one was what? Anybody can tell me? Succession, repetition was a banana. Okay, so here comes a banana. What's the next one? An acacia. What's the next one?
Papaya.
A papaya. Oh, you got it. Very good. Okay, in that, this is a sequence with just 2 kind of fruit trees. But then every 4 or 5, you could plant a citrus. Okay, a citrus. No problem. No problem. All right? So that's where you have diversity. Now, we didn't stop there. This was just the beginning. When this was all planted in a row, then here, well, we had some cow manure. We didn't have compost, so on the soil we put a little bit cow manure, okay? And then we covered, this is how the soil was looking like. Here you have your plant, your tree. We put a little bit cow manure here, and then we remodeled the surface to be like this. Okay? So you could hold, so manure was here, and then we put rice straw all over. Thick layer like this. We had a lot from the neighbors, so we put a lot of this straw here. Okay, that will prevent the soil to dry and the grass to grow. Okay, nothing complicated. In 1 week or 2, when they have time, because I had to go, I left one of my students there with me, with them, and here we plant. We're going to make a little hole. We plant a little stick of camote. Okay, because so you don't have to do the covering over and over again. The camote will grow, cover the soil. Okay? When a camote has more or less covered the soil, we plant a few seeds of squash. The squash will grow and invade everything, will take over even camote. Who cares? Okay? You have some camote food and some squash. So you don't try to have a lot in a small surface, but you have a lot in 1 hectare. With this system, you have about 40,000 kilo per hectare minimum a year. Okay? That's a lot of food. You can never eat them all, and you have to find a good way to market this. All right, so this is basically the system. Now it gets a little more complex, and the second part I will share with you in the next course, because we're not going to grow just fruit line. This is called a fruit line. Okay? This is a fruit line. Oh, by the way, between bananas and mangium, we planted sugarcane. Every 50 centimeters there is a plant. Okay? So here's your banana, here's your mangium, and here we plant the sugarcane vertical, 50 centimeters in the soil, very deep, yeah, vertical. So it will grow, 3 eyes buried and 1 out. They will grow vertical. When about this high, we plant 3 or 4 seeds of beans, climber beans. And you have beans on the sugarcane. So the sugarcane is a support for the beans. You can grow eggplants if you want. 1 or 2 eggplants here and there. Okay? So you have to consider your whole farm as being a diversity of food and production in diversity. Here you have so the beans fix nitrogen. The sugarcane uses a lot of nitrogen, needs a lot of nitrogen, will also produce a lot of carbon and green matter when it's finished, and you can use it as, you can juice it. We don't sell sugarcane to the factory, but we make our own juices, and we use sugarcane, we chop it, put it on the soil, we use it as a cover crop, green manure, for the following crop. Could be eggplants, whatever, cassava. Okay, so this is a fruit line. The fruit line, next we have a path. So this is your fruit line. You have a path, this is 120 centimeter. The path is 50 centimeter always. Then you have a next bed, 120. And this is called a vegetable line. That's where you grow your vegetables, whatever. Okay? I don't give details on this one. Okay? In the middle, we plant cassava the same way as this, so very, very deep, very straight. Cassava will grow here. One is about this high. We also do the same, we plant beans, string beans. So you don't have to make complicated structure. And we plant Portuguese string beans because they are big pods like this, flat and fat and healthy and happy. Those are amazing food. Okay? Here you have those long ones. They're good. They are not as productive, I think, but they're good. You can anyone you want, you can have your string beans supported by your cassava. Again, the same system here. Cassava stores the energy in the roots. Beans provide a good support for the beans. The beans, they are going to be attached to the cassava and again to fix some nitrogen to their rhizobium, to their nodules. They will fix the nitrogen of the air, so everybody works with everybody else. Okay? So this is just a simple strategy, practical, that you can learn from. The following bed, this is 50, is again 120, always 120, and this one we call a fertilizer bed. Fertilizer. What to plant on this one will be the topic of tomorrow, okay? Because my time is over. Thank you very much. Hope you enjoyed it. Okay, gives you a new idea how to do simple, efficient farming using both those, by the way, the principle of this, it's all found in nature. I got it all in nature. Okay, I saw trees and vines growing on it. And I saw one time an oak tree with grapes growing on it. I ate the grapes, it was delicious. I said, oh, I'm going to grow grapes like this. And what about beans? Because it's less work. Today, a worker costs too much money. I cannot pay a worker to put cane, to buy the sticks, put strings on. They call it string beans. Why? Because they grow on strings. I don't have time to make strings. I just plant something that will stay for many years and many generations. Like my ipilipil, I grow at the bottom of ipilipil, I grow string beans. Okay? You got it?
He's Coming Broadcasting Network.